Hey guys, Ranger here. Welcome back to another video, and welcome back to another reaction interview. And this is to the third episode of Murder Drones, which I believe is titled The Promening. So it's prom. Ooh. It's prom. Ooh, this is going to be interesting. Okay, so someone has been telling me about, there's a ton of details and background lore and things like that in the show, in the episodes, and it's definitely worth rewatching it more, rewatching one episode more than once. So I really appreciate all the information and all the detailing about that. I really appreciate it. It adds so much more to what's going on into the world. And I do apologize if my theories are completely outlandish and completely far from what is going on in the show, but that's just me throwing stuff at the wall. But I'm having so much fun with this series. It's so good, and I really love it. I love this and the amazing Digital Circus. Both are just so awesome. But let's go ahead and dive into this episode and see what's going down. The Promening. I'm wondering if this maybe takes a little bit of inspiration from like some of the horror movies maybe of the 80s, you know, something like Stephen King's, what was it, Carrie, I think it was. That's just, again, me theorizing. Let's go ahead and start. Make sure it is still recording here to make sure everything's good. Okay, we're still recording. Okay, let's go ahead and begin and see what's going down. Starting video in 3, 2, wait, it's 3, 2, 1, click. Let's begin. Oh yeah, still snowing. Prom 3007. What? They've been there a while. Oh. Missing. Whoa. Oh! Whoa! Oh, okay, this is cool. So she's murdering the competition.
Mom, Bob, get rid of Lewis.
What in the...
What are you things?
Guilt active? Aww.
Meeting Brad in an hour. Can you imagine going to prom alone?
I'd be all like, I don't deserve happiness.
You snuck into her room? Kooky instinct. You snuck into her room and took down all of her stuff?
My crazed ramblings! Stay out of my frickin' room!
personal space for very alarming coping mechanisms isn't covered under a non-optional family support structure.
I'm sorry for being vulnerable for 5 seconds, okay? You were never there for me. If you want to help now, stay distant. I'm going to talk to N. What is this?
Prom dress. Child small. You're grounded from seeing those bad influencing murder drones. But I talked to your teacher to find you classmates to go with tonight.
What?
Sup, freak?
Oh.
Prepare to be popular.
I'm chaperoning!
I do want to be dapper. But no! That's why you had me find these? We can't interact with the workers anymore, V. We're too dangerous.
Exactly. We show up fabulous. The sad purple one lets us in, because she has no friends. We kill everyone and pop her little head off.
I'm not freeing you for prom murder, V. Jay went hollow spooky snake crab, and we maybe grew up in a haunted mansion. Aren't you worried we have no idea what we even are?
Promise me you and that purple thing will stop prying into that stuff. If you free me now, I promise we'll only kill what we need to survive. Just you and me, Anne.
Ugh. Doll, do you ever clean?
Я повесила простынь. Они спят.
Hey, so thanks for having me, but now that my dad thinks I'm here, I'm actually gonna
Oh, you're lucky.
hilarious. She's hilarious. You should get ready. You're gonna look so cute in a brave way.
How'd you get... I think she's figuring it out.
Ванная по коридору налево.
Is that Russian?
V, if you're hiding something, we can figure it out together. Even if we each only have pieces. Please, what do you know?
What's best for you? Even if you hate me for it.
Easy, Robo-Satan, not this error.
Dude, no one will notice she's missing. Just do your thing, and I'll let in be. We'll see you there.
What the
That's a lot of blood. Well, oil. Sorry. Yeah, I'm getting Carrie vibes. Stephen King's Carrie vibes here.
Oh no, no, no!
Oh, my head's back.
No, no time!
He'll go back.
Как они по-русски любят говорить.
It's Russian.
Ой, я должна была предположить, что кто-то сможет убежать через вентиляцию, используя выброшенное зеркало как ступеньки.
It's him.
N?
Uzi? You
Why
look...
are-
I
Go dress.
I think something bad.
I could help, but you probably don't want me.
No, I could use the help of you being there with me.
Dapper buddies.
Do the robot. Seriously? Punch bowl. Decoration only. You will super die. Should you be drinking on the job? What is that one on fire?
Okay, listen up, nerds. We're doing this a little early, but since the entire prom court mysteriously disappeared, your queen by forfeit is,
You.
this.
Oh, we're gonna die!
Oh, cool.
Easy, judgy bots. V's my friend. She's done with the murder or whatever. We've been hanging.
Yes, best friends. So easily manipulated.
Prom queen? Ugh.
Oh boy.
So, forgive and forget, or I'll get my dad to dock your frickin' grades! And you can't sit with us, Rebecca!
Fine, I forgive her. Settle.
She's kind of cute, though. I mean, how much
Laugh harder, loser!
Your dress is really cute.
You're locked.
Doors.
Nah.
Kill everyone after? It's not vain. It's extra sinister.
Yeah, this is so Carrie vibes.
Unhand them, you fiend! I'm confused.
On second thought, you're way hotter than Doll. Run, idiot!
Steel.
Привет, Ви.
Jesus.
Ладно, тебе все понятно.
Oh! Oh crap.
Holy crap, what is she doing?
This isn't what I expected at all! I guess we should,
Help her. Awesome. Okay, everybody get out, get out, get out, get out.
Узи, тебя вправду взял сторону дронов-убийц? И они единственные, кто потеряла из-за них семью.
Fight me! Whoever started this wants us to fight. I'm not dealing with anything well, but I'm done dealing with everything alone. We move forward together or not at all.
Как мило. Но мне твоя помощь не нужна.
Shoot. Oh! Don't. Oh shoot! Oh! Yeah, she's got powers of her own. Oh, this is so cool!
is this...
Ew. You look like garbage.
You frickin' traitor!
As if you weren't using me to try and kill everyone, Miss Petty. Where does this freaking go?
Thank you, Lizzie!
Shut up, loser.
Dang. Oh. Whoa.
Quit saving me!
Oh, cool. Oh, dude, this is so freaking cool.
Seriously, don't do that again.
Uzi.
Okay, your turn!
Oh. She's worried for him. Oh, cool. Huh? Oh. Oh. Oh, that works.
V, we needed her for answers.
What? She's fine. A little tuckered out.
She did that on purpose! She's hiding mystery stuff and being overdramatic about it!
You suck! You!
They're almost like siblings.
Lucky for you, we're not done yet.
Turn on your headlights.
Nice.
Whoa. Well, found all the bodies.
Self-respect? Why would a worker drone... Was she eating them?
I think we found her folks.
Literally didn't even taste that good.
V, you kinda suck.
Yeah, I'm not doing okay.
Oh, dang.
Как раз к ужину.
Whoa.
Мне тебя. Жаль. Если я найду то, что ищу, то и тебе помогу.
What?
Извини.
What? Oh, don't you dare! I hate it here!
Oh, that's where I left my excuse to be outside right now.
Dude, your head's on fire. Oh boy, another one. Oh!
Mr. AJ. Maintenance work.
Ooh. Okay. That was so good. This, so far, is my favorite episode of Murder Drones, honestly. Just because of all the stuff going on in this episode. It had, and I'm probably wrong on that, but it kind of, the start of it kind of gave me a little bit of Stephen King's Carrie vibes, I think it was. I honestly thought they were going to lure the other drone there and dump like oil or something on her, because I think they did that with paint or blood in Carrie, and then she went on a murder massacre or something like that. That's what I kind of thought they were going to do here, but there's a lot of stuff going on here, and try to go over a few little things here to pack it. So, Prom 3071. So, I'm assuming this means that this is how many years that they've been doing this prom, which tells how many years that they've been on this exoplanet, or okay, going over some of these wanted posters here. Confusing the ancient digital artifact collection, The Office, with the Personality Core. Okay, I'll be honest, I've never watched The Office. I just never had an interest in it. But these numbers here, I could be wrong. Those look, maybe it is a phone number, but those look more like coordinates. Those look more like coordinates than a phone number. I could be wrong on that, but... So, we learn more about what's going on here. Doll has the ability to use her powers. Uzi found out that she has similar abilities. Doll can use these abilities. I'm curious if all of the other robots in general, if all robots actually have access to this ability, but some have access to it and some do not. If it's just some robots can use it and some can't, or if all actually have that ability, but they haven't tapped into that ability yet. It's sort of like how I've heard before that supposedly humans only use a certain percentage of their actual brains, and if you could actually if you could sort of gain access or be able to tap into the rest of the percentage of your brain, that you'd be able to utilize other stuff. I don't know if they think that telekinesis would actually be possible, but like, is it just some robots can have access to this or not? Now, one thing that I kind of noticed here is when this other female robot here at the start encountered this wall, and it was like she kind of got stuck there, like she just sort of couldn't go anywhere. It kind of made me think about, in video games, the invisible barrier that keeps you from going anywhere. It actually made me think, oh, you reached the end of the map. But interestingly enough, Doll has the ability to actually she has the ability to take control. She can actually create material out of thin air. She can actually create metal and other materials out of thin air. and she can also levitate stuff, and it looks like she can also, oddly enough, take control of body parts and just yank them off. So she was eliminating the competition because she wanted V, I believe it was. She was just completely murdering. And now I was confused at first whenever I first started this reaction because she spoke in Russian and it had subtitles, and I actually thought, oh darn, I downloaded the wrong video. Now, going over it, V, of course, was feeling completely guilty over her interaction with N. And her dad suddenly decided to break into her room, basically, and steal all of the stuff that she had been trying to formulate and trying to go over. And I thought this whole thing that he reveals that these other two popular girls who obviously did not like Uzi whatsoever was going to, and the fact that he was going to chaperone, I thought this was all going to be a nightmare and she was going to wake up from it and realize, oh, it's all just a nightmare, we're all good. Turns out it was real, though. V knows more, or she remembers more, than what she's telling N. At least, that's what it is implied. Because whenever he makes a mention about what are we here for? What is our purpose? What even are we? And she has this look on her face. She tells him to promise that he'll stop prying into that. It makes me wonder, does she remember all of it? Does she remember more? Because later on, she told N with a laugh, I'm not okay. Maybe it could be that she remembers everything, but she doesn't want to remember it. It's very much like, it's very, very human in nature that there are things that from your past that you don't want to remember. Obviously, you don't want anybody prying into. You don't want to pry into it because it's just not a good memory for you. Maybe it brings up some sort of trauma and you just would rather leave it there. And maybe she remembers more of it, but N doesn't. He doesn't remember. He wants to know the truth, but she does seem to care about N. V does seem to care about him because she seems to want to protect him. That she doesn't want him to, it's so cool, honestly, that even though they have this interesting little interaction between one another, she would rather protect him and have him be angry at her because she probably knows his emotions are more frail, more fragile than her. And she's put up this front, or I can't say she's adapted to it because there's some things you just never adapt to. You just put on a front, put on a mask and go about your life. And you just try to keep those emotions suppressed and locked away. So there are more people who are more susceptible to things like that, and she's protecting him and keeping him from actually getting hurt, which is really, really cool that she's doing that. She really doesn't want him. I can tell that she doesn't. It's an emotionally conflicting moment for V because she doesn't want N to hate her. But she knows that if he possibly learned the truth about everything, that it could completely break his hard drive. It could completely destroy him. And she's trying to protect him. And It's really cool, honestly. I mean, that's something I have to admire about her. I honestly do. I can't. It's so cool, honestly. I was kind of wondering if Anne would end up showing up to the prom here, and it's very cool. It's it's so oozy. Like the girl still wears the beanie, even when she's wearing the prom dress and she wears the combat boots. I mean, it's so her. It just honestly, I can't imagine her kind of without the beanie or without the combat boots. It's so her. It's so cool. But considering all the fighting she ended up having to do, yeah, I can see why wearing combat boots under a prom dress would not be a bad idea. But I was hoping that Anne would end up showing up, and man, what a prom this was. But it's so cute, the little blush that Uzi has, and I'm wondering if she's developing feelings for Anne, or if she is just she's not used to having friends. Now, be it a romance between them or they're just friends, I'm okay with either. I'm totally cool with either one. It doesn't bother me either way. I can easily imagine them kind of hooking up just as easy as I can them just being friends. But I can kind of see that too. Like, she's not really used to having friends. I can relate. So she's just the fact of being around someone who is so kind of easygoing, and she is glad he's there. She's glad he's there because he's the first person to kind of actually understand, and he's just there for her, and it's honestly so cool. And I also kind of wonder here, like, Punch Bowl, you will super die. What is in this thing? Acid? Like, what the crap is in this thing to make it be that dangerous? And I gotta say, this is how you enter a prom. I mean, I've never been to a prom, but I can honestly say, girl, you rocking it. With the metal wings and the sharp blades, yeah, and the sharp fangs. That's how you enter a prom. Let them know you mean business. But originally, V was one of the murder drones and was wanting to murder everybody just as easily as J was. But now she's kind of having a bit of second thoughts here because she's actually friends with Lizzie, and was Doll not so much anymore. I apologize if I'm getting that wrong. I had to look up the wiki to memorize the characters' names here. This is honestly a kind of a conflicting thing here. It really is difficult here because Doll has memories of V being the one that murdered her folks. Or murdered her family. Maybe not necessarily her folks, but murdered her family. And so she wanted to get revenge on V. Now, here's the conflict. Here, like, she kind of wanted to make a bit of a public display and murder V because of that. And she wanted to eliminate V because she eliminated her family. But here's the thing. I can understand in a way. I mean, I'm not going to defend V here because she was a murder drone. She was kind of created to do that, and I'm not going to defend her. But Doll is an interesting case to talk about because she lost her family and she witnessed them getting murdered by this person. So obviously she had a vendetta out and wanted to see this other person suffer, and she wanted to eliminate them. But she murdered so many other people, so many other robots to help along her plan. So in reality, in truth, she's not any better than V. But someone in that situation is not going to be able to see that logic, and because they're just so heck bent on trying to finish, or to trying to seek out or accomplish their goal, their revenge, and they're not capable of thinking straight. Especially considering she lost her family, she's not mentally capable of thinking straight. She's has a bloodlust. She's just thirsty for revenge, and she's not seeing the logic and realizing the other families that she tore apart to get to this point. So in reality, she's not any better than V. She is just as bad, if not worse than V, because of all the people that she murdered. Now, I'm not trying to understand the body count between Dahl and what V did. I'm not trying to understand who did it. It's not about the body count. The point, or the principle of it, is that both are guilty of that. And N is trying to help V to kind of be a better person and not be a murder drone. So, I mean, I understand, Dahl wants revenge, and she wants to try to get revenge on that, but N, of course, wanted to help because, and I can understand N's point here, he is friends with V, of course. He doesn't want to see her get completely obliterated, but he also doesn't want to do murder anymore. So it's so interesting that whenever Uzi realizes, crap, we're going to have to save her. The moment that Uzi says, we move... Now, there's some things here. The fact that V was going to be crowned prom queen. That was one of the kind of a little moment. It wasn't the turning point for her. Her talking to N and having that alone time to be able to communicate with him, I think really started the ball rolling for that. But here she gets made prom queen, and she had second thoughts about murdering everybody. She's like, maybe I'll do it after? Like, she was having second thoughts. But then here, Uzi said, we move forward together or not at all. And in this moment, nobody has actually really stood up for N like this before. I mean, for V before. Both N and Uzi stood up for her and protected her. Even though with the stuff that she's done in the past, they still showed mercy for her. They could have just let her get obliterated because of her past, but they didn't. Now, I'm not condoning. I'm not saying, just easily let it go if somebody murders someone else. I'm not saying that. I'm not comparing that to reality. Okay, these are robots, okay? I'm not... There is a huge difference in that. This is an animation and, things like that. These are robots. But here, it really helped. Maybe V is thinking about whether or not... Maybe V is having second thoughts about how she's trying to keep it a secret from N about their past, or there's a lot that could be going through her head. But one interesting thing, of course, is Dahl completely shot towards Uzi and N. And he knew... The thing is, N knew these blades were so big that they could hurt Uzi. And without a moment's hesitation, he pushed her out of the way. Now, it did hit both N and V, but they were still alive. Now, the combat scene here, during this whole thing, that moment that Uzi just pulls the blade just right out of her hand. Of course, the robots, I don't know if they feel pain. That's something I've never really talked about or really has been brought up. Like, do they feel pain? Is there any sort of receptors or sensors within them that allows them to feel pain? Or is it just, oh, okay, here we go. It kind of reminds me of the episode of My Life as a Teenage Robot, where Jenny wanted to be able to feel. She wanted to feel like a human, so Mrs. Wakeman created these sensors, these little dot sensors that would enable her to be able to feel pain. It made it hard to fight though because she felt every single punch, and they could be set to pain or tickle. And so once they got switched to tickle, she defeated the bad guy because he just couldn't handle the fact that she was just laughing at him. But like, but then there were other episodes that kind of gave it the impression that she kind of felt it a little bit. But here, I think Uzi is kind of in her element here, because this is her kind of her moment to shine a little bit. And it was kind of at this point that Doll realized, oh crap, this girl can kind of use this ability as well. And she, for the first time, felt a little scared, which is honestly hilarious. But the dance segment, darn, I accidentally hit my mouse cord. Yes, I use a mouse. I don't use a trackpad. Screw the trackpad. The dance segment with this is probably the most interesting prom that they've ever had in the 3,071 times that they've had it. The 3,071st prom was the most interesting out of all of them, and that's pretty bad to say. But I mean, the dance segment with Uzi and within was just so cool, because like the fact that he actually twirled her and then dipped her like that. It was while there was a fight going on. I mean, that was honestly so cool. I mean, I really love this dance between these two. It's just so precious. It really is just precious. It really is. It's so fun and cute and bad. It just is. I mean, the fact that like she can just get dipped, catch a blade, and then just hurl it. I love this scene so much. This scene here is by far just so epic. It's short, but it's just so epic. And something else here is Uzi's concern for In. There's a little segment after Dog gets blown back where Uzi sees the cut, basically where In had got split in half and got put back together. Or he got completely split or cut, and she sees all the oil running down and the cut, and it's kind of, there's a little bit of a blush on her face here, and there's probably multiple things going on in her mind here. And she tells him seriously, don't do that again. And it's not, and the way that she says it, it's not a don't do it again, I'll kill you. It's a really concerned, don't do that again. And there's a blush on her face, and it's probably like, because at this point in time, he sacrificed himself to save her. In sacrificed himself to save her. He could have just not done anything, but he actually pushed her out of the way and took the hit himself. The fact that he was willing to sacrifice himself for her shows how much that he actually cares about her in that moment. And here she's probably kind of processing that. And it's funny for me to say that from a robotic standpoint, but she's processing it, that he actually cares enough about her to actually sacrifice himself like that. But she's actually expressing concern because, like, in her mind she thinks, what if that would have actually killed him completely? And at this point, she doesn't want him to take any unnecessary risks that could risk him dying, which translates to she doesn't want to lose him. And she doesn't want him to take any unnecessary risks for her because she doesn't want to lose him. It's so precious. It's so precious, it really is. I love it. And the music in this segment, my gosh, man, the music in this segment was so freaking pumped. I mean, it was just so good. There's a lot that I love about Murder Drones. But one thing that I can also really say that I love is the soundtrack. It's just so cool. It's so good. I absolutely love it. Now, honestly, I really got to give it up to the moment that, to the animation, the moment that the bullet goes right through Doll's head. Like it goes right between her eyes, literally, and goes right through her head. I love the moment that, how realistic that honestly is to a human being. No, I've never actually seen anybody actually get a bullet right through their skull, no, but in the research, I mean, seen it directly, no, but I have done some research into things like that, and the realism of, like, you see her basically the processors, you see her eyes flickering, and there's just like the moment of shock in the face, because at that point, like, the body does show shock, because like the brain is just shutting down at this point, and her processor is just shutting down, and it's flickering, so you see that last little bit of signs of life in that, as her body, and like, it's not just instant fall back, it's just like it takes a moment. And I think it does depend on how much damage is done to the brain as to how quickly. Because like, some people have actually committed suicide by like taking a bullet directly through the head or through like the mouth, and like the head will like recoil back, and it's just instant, pretty much just like that, and they'll just drop. Other times though, it's like this, and it can be the head, it can be the chest, and they'll just kind of stand there for a moment as as they just bleed and realize what's going on. And depending on where it's hit, as to how severe the injury is, can depend on how much time that they kind of have to process what's going on. But here, it went through a part, I guess you could say, of the processor, because like there are parts of the brain that like a person can get kind of, a bullet can go into, and it not actually, people have actually survived gunshot wounds to the head before. Some people have actually survived getting the side of their face blown off, or their cheek blown off, actually. So it kind of varies, I guess. There's lots of different things that could vary from it, like the angle by which the bullet goes, by which the bullet travels. I guess it could also depend on whether it's a if it's a bullet that will expand in the brain, like at the moment that it hits a target, it does more damage by expanding, or just kind of by causing more shrapnel to like pieces to fly throughout the cavity, or if it just passes straight through. And then if it doesn't, it kind of depends on what part of the brain also it does. People have survived gunshot wounds through the chest before as well. But I love the realism of this, and it's showing just her processing, of her just kind of processing what's going on at this point. And V just standing here like it's funny. And I gotta say, the animation here for V, I'm just going to be straight up honest with this. The animation for V, the moment that she just kind of lowers her gun and she just kind of walks with that sort of a sway, they did a great job of making that look both sexy and cool. I'm just being completely honest because I want to be honest in my reviews, and they did such a great job of handling that. It adds more class and style to her movements instead of her just walking forward. Just the way that she carries herself after this is just a wonderful detail. Like, just that smirk on her face, and the way that she carries herself, and she has like And it's realistic too, because her right shoulder is higher than her left, because that's basically how it would be whenever you're aiming a gun. And then she's lowering it, but she's not like her arm, her shoulder. There's kind of two ways you could kind of do it. You could do it like this right here. There's still like a tiny bit of tension in the arm, and then you can just kind of relax it. But they did such a great job with this. That smirk, and then hearing that soft tap of her shoe or her foot on the floor, and just that slight little bit of sway in her body as she moves. They did such a great job with that. I mean, they could have just had a bland movement of her just lowering her arm and just walking forward blandly, straight. But they did such a great job of animating that movement, that body movement, to really emphasize that, to really highlight the feminine figure of that. And it's so good. It really is a wonderful movement. It's so good how they did that. It's a wonderful little detail, but they did it in such a great way. She's fine. She's dead, sort of. Not completely. I mean, something else also to notice is the fact that while she's laying there, you have all this blood, and you still have like a little spurt of blood. Yeah, that's also realistic. That's also realistic, because you still have, because after the body is kind of dead, you still have, because unless the heart is shot or destroyed before the brain, you still have blood kind of flowing through the arteries, pushing out all of the blood at this point. So yeah, there's still like the exit wound, so there's still like the blood kind of squirting out. That's realistic. I have to say, it also adds a little bit of humor to that. It's like, she's fine, sort of. You know, it adds a great little moment of humor to that. The moment whenever N is like, V is hiding mystery stuff and being over dramatic is so... Okay, I made the mention about siblings. It's like they're siblings almost. I looked it up, and apparently, from what I read, she is, according to the Murder Drones wiki, V is a close friend of N and a former love interest. Okay. But, so, apparently, they are former relationship. Former. Possibly. But still, it's so funny whenever she kind of lightly punches in, and she's like, you suck. Like, she doesn't... It kind of goes back to before. She doesn't want Uzi and In delving into their past. She's trying to protect him, but it's still really, really cool here. Now, something interesting. Now, of course, Dahl was shocked that Uzi sided, basically, with the murder drones. And there's two sides to this, because obviously from the regular robots' perspectives, from the regular worker bots' perspectives, they don't, these murder drones have murdered a lot of people just because. So you have that perspective. Then you have the murder drones, who now Ian is questioning basically why they do what they do. Like, and once that is done, what becomes of them? What happens to them? So you have two different sides here, and of course I can understand why Dahl would be upset that Uzi would kind of side with them, but to be completely honest, Ian is the only other person that actually showed friendship to Uzi. Like, she doesn't really have any other friends anyway. She's kind of a loner. I can relate. But interestingly enough, whenever they use the bracelet that Dahl was wearing to get access to this room, Uzi gets blood, or sorry, I keep saying blood, it's oil, on her fingers. And she feels a bit of a desire. And Uzi does end up licking it. Now, which makes me wonder, is she kind of becoming one of the murder drones because now she's got a taste for that, for the oil, to see what it tastes like? Was it because of that ability that she has now that's the reason why she felt like that, this urge to lick the oil? Now, of course, we also saw Doll's parents, or folks. And this little moment here, like, it's funny. Like, honestly, V is hilarious. She is becoming a favorite character of mine. I think in this episode she did solidify herself as a favorite character. She made it, like, obviously V did kill them because she said they didn't taste that good. And In's like the moral person here. He's like, you suck. And she's like, yeah, I'm not doing okay. Like, obviously there's some stuff here with this. And also I just kind of noticed it. I didn't really notice the color, but V's dress is red, and I think Uzi's is black, which honestly I thought it was like purple. It does match, honestly. The black does match her. Just that little stance that V has, like with her hand on her hip there, again showing that that feminine pose here. I guess you could say the colors really do fit the characters, because Uzi wears a lot of dark colors, so the black dress really does fit her. It does suit her. V, where she's a murder drone, the red dress does kind of match the symbolism of blood, of murder, but it also kind of fits because it kind of works for the whole femme fatale kind of concept going on with her, because of what she is, or maybe formerly was. So it does really work with her. Doll tries to fire a bullet, the same bullet out of her head, back into Uzi, and Uzi was able to use the ability to stop the bullet in the air. Doll makes this mention, "I'm sorry for you." Like, does she feel... She said, "I'm sorry for you." Like, does she actually feel sorry for Uzi now because Uzi has this ability? Like, does she feel like her ability is a curse and she wishes to be normal? Oh, I just realized, honestly, the logo, the logo on the bracelet is the same logo that's on the choker that Uzi's wearing. And Doll says, "If I find what I'm looking for, I'll help you too." So Doll exit stage right. Snagglepuss. She exits stage right and tells Uzi she will help her too if she finds what she's looking for. So does Doll think that she is cursed with this ability and she wants to understand it? She wants to find out the origin of it, why she can do this, how she can do it, and now she has that. She tells Uzi that she'll help her too, but she tried to kill Uzi, and now she's like, "I'll help you." Like, does she actually feel like having this ability is a curse? It's worse than death. So like, hey, I'm totally fine with killing you, but oh my gosh, like, hey, it's totally fine if I kill you, but oh my gosh, I feel sorry for you with this ability. And this other, Jay comes back to Earth now with this other robot, which I had to look it up. Oh, okay. So apparently her name is Tessa Elliott. And here, I love how the Heroes Wiki calls, it says, the horror comedy YouTube series. Yeah, I would call it that. And there's a key here. A big gold key. That does not look like a regular vehicle key with like a little Earth keychain on it. We have a new character introduced who's probably going to be a very formidable opponent. we seem to have an alliance now, so Doll is probably not going to be around for an episode or two. At least that's a conjecture, because she's trying to figure out, I guess, her ability and why she has it, and what its source, what its origin is. And now, Ian, of course, still wants to understand some stuff. Uzi's now also trying to figure out basically her own abilities, just like Doll, and now V has been shown mercy by Ian and by Uzi, so now she's kind of joining their little group. And also, it's shown more that Uzi does care about Ian, and Ian cares about her. He's willing to help and sacrifice himself for her, but she doesn't want him to take any unnecessary risks. There's a lot here, and like I said, it's really beautiful. And I know there's a lot of other background details as well, but there's a lot here. There is a lot here. But it's really, really well done. So, I'm guessing Jay went to get this other robot as backup. Like, oh, okay, so time to call reinforcements. But yeah, so didn't realize it before, but so Uzi has the same ability. And I thought at first it was the bracelet, because whenever they first got the bracelet off of Doll, I thought, okay, now she can't use the ability, but she still can. So, okay, I just had a couple of theories. The first theory is some worker drones was given that designation in some form. Like, for Doll, it was the bracelet. For Uzi, it's the choker. And any robot with that designation, with that skull and those two little trees on it, or pillars, can use that ability. The second theory is that those were sleeper drones, sort of. It's like sleeper cells. It's like they were actual hidden murder drones, but just had to wait for this other ability to activate in some form. That's another theory. But it's interesting. And also the detail for Uzi's choker, beautiful. I mean, I love the gems like in the flowers on the side of her choker. A lot of beautiful detail on that. It's really gorgeous. But again, this is by far my favorite episode so far. I love it. There's a lot going on here. I love it. It's so freaking... Oh, sorry. It's so freaking cool. I love it. This is by far, so far, my favorite episode of Murder Drones. And I love it. And like I said, there's a lot that you could go over mentally about some of the stuff that's kind of going on here, but there's still so much. And this is just the third episode, but man, I love this series. And I'm really having a lot of fun with it as well. And I'm loving the dynamic here between Uzi and N. It's really cool. But I'm also loving the dynamic between V and N as well. It's really cool. But... And also kind of talking about the dad here. Like, it's interesting because something to kind of notice. Let me go back to that scene. No, something else to notice was Uzi's dad, Khan. He wasn't super quick to run out of the gym. Out of the gymnasium, I guess, whenever everyone else was fleeing. He had to go back, and he was watching things unfold. And it was whenever Uzi got flung to the ground, then he decided to run forward this time. Now, it's interesting because, of course, in the first episode, I believe it was. He literally left his own daughter there. He ran in fear and left his own daughter there to be murdered. This time he was actually going back to try to help. So he's showing more concern for a dad. It's like, it's interesting because he's not really, I can't say he's not fit to be a dad. He's not really sure how to be a dad. Which honestly, I think being a dad, being a mom to a teenage daughter, to a teenage son, is difficult in general anyway. It's a very emotional and angsty time for them, and trying to, like, some things you might can help, some things you can't. But he's wanting to try to help his daughter, but there's some stuff that he can't really do. Like, he wants to try to help, but she doesn't want him to help. It's kind of interesting how she thought he died before, and how she still was acting angry to him like she did after thinking that he was murdered before. So it's like, wow, you gotta, like, Uzi, you kind of got over that very quick. But angsty teenage girl, so, but I have to say, it's cool that Khan did try to go back to help his daughter, and I have to respect a little bit Dahl, because she closed the door and locked him out and didn't murder him. I have to give respect to that. But again, I love the horror feel of this, like the fact that she turns and looks at him, and she just quickly tilts her head to the right. Like, I love the horror element to this. And because it's robots, like, they can get away with all this stuff. But, if they tried to do something like this with humans, oh my gosh, I don't even want to know what some people will be saying about this. Like, I'd like to see it. Does that sound demented in some way? Like, see, like, a humanoid version? Just to see somebody try to do a human version of this. Just to see what people's reaction would be, just to see what would happen. Because I'm curious. Would people be complaining because of the amount of blood? Or would they be ridiculing it? But, like, I'm curious. I really am. Me, I love this series. I can handle stuff like this. It doesn't bother me at all. I think it's freaking cool. And for humans, you can, if they did like a human version of this, like I said, just to see what people would think. Like, kind of take just to kind of do something kind of based on this, just to see what people's reaction would be. Of course, you'd have to be a bit more, you couldn't do like a low budget thing. You'd have to really kind of put a lot of effort into it to make it look realistic. But I mean, just to see, I'm just curious what people would think about it, But again, I love this. I love this so much, and it's so cool. And I love Murder Road. It's so freaking cool. But again, thanks again for joining me. Hope you guys enjoyed. And again, you have some additional details. I want to hear them. I want to see it. Again, thanks again for joining me. Hope you guys enjoyed. Hope you enjoyed my reaction and review and analysis. And again, to everybody involved with the making of this thing, thank you guys so much. Thank you to all of you. You put in so much effort into this. So much animation, beautiful animation, so many gorgeous details and structure for the characters, for the backgrounds. The music is amazing. The voice acting is amazing. And there's just so much, and like the way they animate, like the camera pans and, the blur with the camera is just so cool. So much detail put into this, and it shows the passion. It really does. So again, thanks again for joining me. Thank you to everybody that made this. I'm loving this series, and thank you to everybody that made this. You guys every one of you did such an amazing job. And again, thank you to those. Hope you guys enjoyed and enjoy my reaction, review, and analysis. But again, thanks again for joining me. Hopefully I'll see you guys next video that I do. Take Take care, God bless, and I'll see you next time. Later.